Dean Legge wrapping up Georgia's heartbreaking loss to Alabama, this time on the last play of second time in a row on the last play of the game in national championship situations. The Tide really played well in the second half, no question about it. I thought Georgia was the dominant team really in the first half. In the second half, Georgia's never could put Alabama away. These are halftime statistics. It was one of those games where Georgia, they didn't leave a national championship on the table, but this loss cost them the national championship. So for the second time in 5 seasons, Alabama breaks Georgia's heart on the last play of the game. A lot to really digest here in Atlanta. It's tough to watch these things, I have to say. I mean, I've covered Georgia now for 18 years. This is my 18th year. And you get to know a lot of people who are really Georgia people in the biggest sense of the word, and I'd rather not say who some of them are because I talk with them privately, and it's painful. And to have the night that they had tonight, I really felt like if they had just scored one more point, Alabama would have been in real trouble. Or if Dominique Sanders' interception was an interception. There were a lot of things in this game where one play did matter. I mean, you can't miss that chip shot field goal like that. There's no excuse for the Alabama kicker missing like that. And there's really no explanation or excuse for kid running out basically wide open. It was a beautiful throw. It was a great play. But third and what was it, 20? And that just can't happen, and that's what happened, though. And you have to give all due credit to Alabama, obviously a wonderful program, the best dynasty in college football, perhaps history. And twice in that time, Georgia has suffered a defeat from them. So you can look at this 2 different ways. First of all, Georgia should be here. Georgia should be here again in the future, and that's just all there is to it. So you can moan and cry about it, or you can give all due respect to a program that is clearly the best program in the country right now. And then you also have to look at, where is Georgia? Apparently one play from being what Alabama is. And, I don't know how many times they play this game, how many times Alabama wins it. I felt that Georgia had a really good shot. Obviously, that was what happened. They just lost. And we've had 2 championship games in a row that have been decided on the last play. And Alabama lost one and they won one. And it just so happens that the one that they won was against Georgia. I don't think there's much question that these 2 are the best 2 teams in the country. I do wonder in the future if Georgia will get the same benefit that Alabama does, or if anybody will get the same benefit Alabama does. I mean, nobody else that I can think of, maybe Ohio State, would not win their division and still play for it. So that's something that I think has to be considered. But when you win the national championship after you came in as the 4 seed, there's really just not much to say. I don't know. Alabama was definitely the better team in the second half. I don't know if they were the better team the entire game, but Dylan Weber told me right when we were starting here that Alabama didn't trail the whole game. They won on the last play of the game. They didn't lead the whole time. So they were playing from behind. I think you have to give them all due credit. Where does Georgia go from here? You lose a senior group, Davin, Lorenzo, etc., and then obviously you lose Nick and Sonia, who have been the heartbeat of this program and have watched it maneuver from Mark Richt's time to playing for the national championship and playing a very difficult defense for the national championship. And those guys really do need to be remembered and recognized. I thought what Kirby said tonight was exactly right. They mean more to the university than yards. And the way they've handled themselves, just all of the seniors. I mean, you start talking about Davin or Bryce Rand. I mean, none of these guys really ever got in trouble that I can remember. Nick, Sony, nobody. So they were stellar kids the entire time that I can recall, and it's not surprising that they got this far. But my global point is, for Georgia, this should happen more often, and I think that it will. In 2012, the pain from Aaron and Ben Jones, Aaron and David Andrews and guys like that, the pain on their face was They gave Alabama their best shot and lost. Same thing happened here, but you kind of feel, it seems to me like this is not exactly going to be the last time that this happens. So I could certainly see you'd have to favor both these two teams playing in Atlanta again next year for the championship. I think this isn't going to end, but we'll see, But congratulations to Alabama, a great program. Programs don't last forever. You got to get it while you can. And that's the unfortunate part for Georgia. Twice now in 5 years, they have basically come from one play from winning the national championship, and it's tough, man. I mean, it's tough to watch, it's tough to process, but you have to develop mental toughness, and you have to say, I can't do it today. Fine, I'll do it tomorrow, and that's all there is to it. The sobbing and the negativity or whatever, it doesn't really do any good. I mean, those guys have got to go lift weights in the off season. They got to do everything they do to prepare for an uncertain future. You can't know what tomorrow will bring. And for Georgia, they just have to work. That's all there is to it. They're out recruiting everybody. There's no doubt about that now. So that's a major thing moving forward. But what we saw tonight was a machine against a program that's trying to become a machine, and just the very little bit mattered. We'll see if it matters in the future. Alabama wins the national championship 26-23. I'm reminded of Georgia winning in overtime in Tuscaloosa 26-23 in a game that didn't matter nearly as much, but same score. All right, Dean Legge wrapping up from Atlanta. Try not to jump off bridges. This thing is not going to get worse. It's going to get better.